What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto sitting alongside, well, I mean, not next to, but virtually next to UFC lightweight Michael Chandler, Mr. Hollywood himself, coming off of the film set in London, I believe, Roadhouse 2 for the second time. Did it a couple months ago and then was in London for, I believe, a month. And then the holiday season, of course, and now 2026 is upon us. And we got a lot to talk about. Mike, how are the holidays? And then I want to hear all about this film experience on Roadhouse 2.
Man, it was good. Yeah. Happy New Year, man. 2026 is about to be a big year. I'm coming down from the holidays, hosting all my family. My family and I just went to, or my immediate family, me and Bree and the boys went to Mexico for a couple days. So we got the cup filled up, so to speak, ready for a big year. And Roadhouse was awesome. I was actually just with some friends of mine. We're working on a documentary. He's actually one of the producers on Mobland, which was filming in London at the same time. And I told him this morning I kind of missed London because it was a lot of fun, man. Like it was being immersed, being on the film set every single day. We were putting in long hours, like 12-hour days nonstop. But, I think Roadhouse 2 is going to be a really awesome movie, really cool cast, great storyline, great location. So I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Yeah, I feel like every time someone that is not from the Hollywood world goes to the Hollywood world, that's the first thing they say is it's a lot of hours. Like you're getting up early and like, can you just kind of give us the idea of a typical day on set? And are you standing around a lot? Or are you like acting? Are you like, I imagine you're doing the same thing over and over again, a lot of retakes and everything. But what does the normal day look like?
Yeah, it's way more hours than I thought. So, I mean, I was usually up by 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, catch my car. I like to wake up an hour before I get picked up just so I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So I'd get picked up at like 6. I wouldn't be back to my hotel till after 7. So it's like a full 12-hour day, whether sometimes the location was an hour away, sometimes the location was only 30 minutes away. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, every day was different. You'd get your little call sheet and it would say, hey, we're filming scene 103, 96, and 27. And then it may change. It may stay the same. They may have already changed things. They may stay on one scene all day long. All I know is it was long hours, but it was enjoyable. I mean, you're alongside Jake Gyllenhaal, Dave Batista, Peter Sarsgaard, and then a couple of buddies of ours, Tyron Woodley, Michael Venom Page, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Poirier was there for a couple of days. So there was at least some familiar faces. And then I got a decent little character in there. So it's you guys will have to wait to see, but it was a lot of fun and I'd love to do more movies. And we'll see, man. We'll see what the future holds.
Did you know you were getting like an actual character? Or is that something that developed over time?
I think it kind of developed a little bit more, because obviously it's no secret. There's a lot of fighting that happens in Roadhouse movies. So they were looking for some fighters. And I think it just turned out that I was decent at, reading a script and becoming a character. And then that character started being liked more by the storyline and what was going on. And then before you know it, they're adding things and they're adding scenes and they're saying, hey, try this. And then, there may be some reshoots after the movie to add more stuff to it.
Hmm.
Because I think they finished this week at a different location here in the States for like 10 days or so, and then they're done filming. So then we'll just be reshoots after that, and then the premiere, red carpet, baby.
Oh, that's exciting, man. A
Yeah.
premiere. Do you have any idea when?
No, I think, everything takes long in the film industry, but I think it's going to be a year. It could be there at the end of 26 or maybe even early 27. So that it kind of stinks. We got to wait that long, but hopefully I get little tidbits of edits here and there, or maybe they call me and say, hey, we want to add more to your character, add more to the storyline. And yeah, man, we'll see.
If you go on to this great acting career, what do you think is more likely that you play more bad guys or more good guys?
Oh man, I don't know. Probably bad guys, actually. Like I think, we all have, bad in us, right? But like overall, I'm like, I like try to be a pretty good guy most of the time. But I feel like playing a bad guy is a lot more far-fetched from who I am. Similar when people talk about WWE, they're like, hey, you the good guy, you the bad guy, whatever it is. I'm like, I think it'd be a lot of fun to play the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then I think being on set with some guys who play bad guys who play good guys was kind of cool to watch. So yeah, I mean, it was, I think I'd like to be a bad guy actually, but we'll see.
Well,
I gotta get a lot better at acting before I get asked back to go and do any more things. We'll see.
well, I mean, it sounds like it went very well, man, and I'm very much looking forward to it, of course. And everybody, in addition, is also looking forward to the White House card, yourself included. You're going to get this question. You have already gotten it a bunch of times, and now here it is. probably who knows for the umpteenth time in 2026, but I want you to put a percentage number on it. What are we at? Where are we at on this thing happening?
Man, you
Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler walking out South Lawn, main event at the White House. What are the odds of this happening right now?
I mean, I think the odds are higher than they ever have been at this point. It's no secret. Obviously, I want to fight Conor, and I think it's no secret by the things that he's posting, the interviews that he's doing, the number of times he said my name, posted a video of me and him and our highlights and all that kind of stuff a week or so ago. He wants to fight me. I want to fight him. He wants to fight at the White House. I want nothing more than to be wearing the red, white, and blue stars and bars, walking onto the White House lawn and fighting at the White House. You know how hard it is to put percentages on anything in mixed martial arts. It's such a crazy sport, and that's why we love it. But one thing is for sure, Conor wants to fight me at the White House. I want to fight him at the White House. And conversations are being had. I think things are moving in that direction, but we're never going to know when this thing's going to be announced. So we will see. All I know is I'm going to start training here very soon, like laser focused on June, whatever it is. And they're going to keep holding the cards close to their chest as they always do, trying to keep things a secret. And we'll see how it plays out.
What do you mean then? What do you mean conversations are happening? Who's having conversations? What's going on in those conversations?
Conversations are happening, man. I'm trying to make this thing happen. We'll put it that way. Obviously, Conor and I have had our history. Blood boiled over a couple times here and there in the Ultimate Fighter. Some words were said. Pushes happened. We've got a history. We've got an Ultimate Fighter 31 to finish. I know there's some people who are like, it's in the past. It's something that it's already passed and gone. But he wants to settle the score. I want to settle the score. Both of us would love that fight to happen at the White House. So conversations are happening. We're moving forward.
I would love it too. I mean, obviously, it's great for the sport. Something big like that, something exciting like that. I mean, the White House is going to capture everybody's attention. You and Conor McGregor would do so even more. Last month, he described this experience that he had down in Tijuana, Mexico, where he apparently did some hallucinogenic drugs. There was a religious experience. He said he witnessed his own death. I mean, this is like a thing. I'm not going to ask you like necessarily what you think about this. Is like a personal thing he's going through, this and that. But as a fighter, and just like remove even yourself from this. Do you think this is a good sign? Do you think that this is nothing? Do you think that this is like do you look at this as like, hey, like this guy's trying, or like is it just noise? I mean, what when you hear something like this and he's describing it, what do you think?
No, man, I don't think it's noise, and I don't think it's exclusive to Conor McGregor. I think every man, especially, right, not to discredit or shy away from speaking about women. Women have their own struggles. Women have their own demons and their doubts and their pressures and the things that they have to go through. But as a man, as a provider, as the pressures, the societal pressures, the pressures to be more than you were, the pressures to reach your goals, the pressures to do all the things. Now add on that worldwide celebrity, a ton of money, a ton of power. When you speak, people listen. When you walk into a room, you suck the oxygen out of it. That was the experience that he has had. Nobody has seen a meteoric rise like Conor McGregor has in the sport, and maybe nobody ever will, ever again. So with what he's had to deal with and then how he's handled it, it's all out there on the internet for the world to see. And a lot of times he documented it himself. He had a lot to go through and had a lot of demons to bear and had a lot of weight to carry and a lot of pressures and all these different things that men want in life. And I think we all get to a point where you realize when the world gives you everything that it tempts you with, it's never going to be enough. There's always something more. And a lot of times that road doesn't lead to great places. And I think I look at it as a very positive sign. I look at it as a very positive sign. He and Dee are now married. I look at it as a very positive sign that he, whether it was, his experience or whether it was just him and the journey he's been on, seeing how this story ends and how the chapter ends, to be able to get to the end, see it, and then realize, okay, I don't want that to happen, right? And I think, like I said, it's not exclusive to him. We all have these moments. I'm going through it right now in my life, and you get to this point at a certain age where you realize, what is most important? What am I trying to attain? What am I trying to accomplish? What is success? And success is defined a lot differently for me at this age than it was when I was 22 and young and hungry and single and all these different things. And now I've got a wife and I've got children and I've got a legacy. So I see it as a very positive sign. I think we're heading towards him coming back and fighting at the White House against me, the greatest comeback in combat sports history, he called it. It was supposed to be back in June of 24, and now here we are doing it in 26.
What is success to you? Like you just said, I mean, you're not at the beginning of your career. Everybody knows that. So, what matters to you right now?
It's a good question, man. I think just peace and joy. Like that's the crazy thing, man. Like we're born with peace and joy, right? We're born in a hospital somewhere with peace and joy. And it's only through our lived experiences and trying to attain and accomplish and scratch and claw toward things that we think are going to make us happy and bring us joy and bring us peace and bring us significance. When really, there was a Christmas Eve service and the pastor was up there talking about like peace is the only thing that must be given and not acquired. Like you can't go try to acquire more peace. You try to acquire more peace, you only find less peace because you're going to move to the next thing that you think is going to give you peace, and it's something that you have to surrender to in order to gain more peace. And I think that's a story as old as time. And here I am at my age now, and everything I've accomplished, crazy beyond my wildest dreams of what I ever thought I would accomplish in life. And I'm starting to realize that more peace and more joy was me being more like I was when I was younger, or more like I was when I had less on my plate and less things, less materialistic things. So just peace and joy, man. And then just raise my children, and make them the happiest and the healthiest and the hardest to kill individuals they possibly can be.
You're a naturally competitive guy, so you're always going to try to win in everything that you do. But there's levels to it, right? And you've experienced those levels throughout your athletic career. When you walk to the octagon at the White House against Conor McGregor, how much does the result matter?
The result always does matter, man. It's like I want to go out there and win. And more than anything, I just want to go out there and I want to perform at a level at which I know I can perform at. But when you do think about if there ever has been a fight in which a level at which you reach to where you're like, okay, the result doesn't matter as much as it normally would. You're like, okay, you're on the biggest stage under the brightest lights in front of the most amount of eyeballs, which is what I've said numerous times in my career. As a fighter, when we get into our sport, we want to fight the biggest names under the brightest lights on the biggest platform we possibly can. And that fits that bill. You know, you're talking about the White House on the 250th anniversary of the United States, this great country of ours. And, man, the result matters. I want to go out there. I want to get my hand raised. I want to separate him from consciousness. I want to fight like hell and win that fight. But that sure is the epitome of where you want to get to in the sport of mixed martial arts.
Yeah, I would think so because I mean, obviously, you've had a great UFC career and a UFC career that people and you waited a long time to come over. The record is probably not what you would want, right? So it's just like that win. Does it still I just wonder sometimes. It's like how much does it still matter after you've already accomplished so much, and then like you said, you are walking out as the main event potentially at a White House card. So does it still matter? I'm glad to hear it does, and I expected to hear it does. I would think that
Yeah,
competitively, you would want to go out there and get your hand raised. Like it would be very important. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, no, every single time. That's always the goal. And and that's the beautiful thing about our sport. I could go back and look at my record and say, man, there is no way in the world I should have lost these certain fights. But then again, there were certain times where maybe I shouldn't have won certain fights, right? Like there's 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 an element of there's an element of kind of luck in the sport that you have to be cognizant of. There's an element of chance as well. I mean, you're talking about two guys who are both trying to do the same thing to one another, zigging and zagging and moving and it's a game of millimeters, man. So I look back at some of the fights and I'm just like, man, doesn't make sense that I didn't get my hand raised at that one. Right.
Mm.
But there's an element to this game, and that's why we love it. And that's why people love to bet on it. That's why people love to watch it. That's why people subscribe, that used to buy the pay-per-views and do all the stuff because it's a beautiful sport, but also very painfully tragic at times as well.
Yeah. Regardless of what happens with Connor, you're going to Florida here in the coming months, and you're getting ready for June 14th. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to Florida next week to get some training in. And then just plan on going back every couple weeks just to start sharpening the tools, getting the game plan together, getting the team together. And yeah, man, we're just a couple months away and hopefully weeks away from an announcement.
And what I mean though is like if for some reason it's not Connor, you're fighting at the White House one way or another.
If I had it my way, yeah. Yeah. My hopes and sights are set on fighting Conor at the White House, but I think there's no reason at this point. Here we are in January. It's White House or bust at this point.
Yeah, yeah, it would seem so. And then if it, and I don't even, I'm trying to manifest it for you as well. I'm saying like, hey, it's happened, and you guys are walking out of the White House. If it's not, do you care one way or another? Like, is there a conversation to have about an opponent, or at that point, it's like it's the White House, like that's just throw me a name.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely like the White House, throw me a name. But of course, there would be guys that I would, want to fight against over certain guys. At this point, I want fights that are big, man. I've done my job. Since September of 2020, when I signed with the UFC, I came in and I've been made good on my promise to Hunter Campbell that I want to come in and fight the best guys right away. You do realize when Paddy fights Gaethje, every single person that I fought in the UFC was either a UFC champ, a interim champ, or fought for a title. So every single person that I fought inside the UFC. So it's been a generational type run. I didn't come in looking to take easy fights, never have taken an easy fight. And I think I've gone out there, bit down on my mouthpiece, and entertained the fans every single millisecond of my UFC run thus far. And the White House would be no different. So big names, legends only.
Yep. Last thing, and I know you spoke a little bit about this after the fight was announced, but I want to talk to you about it. I haven't talked to you about it yet. Gaethje, Paddy, what do you think it looks like?
Oh man, more skilled, more experienced. I think better fighter all around, Justin Gaethje. But I also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. Because of his haircut and the way he talks and some of the strength of schedule. People don't give him a lot of credit, but when I fought him in April in Miami, I'm not going to say that I was surprised because I was expecting the best version of Paddy, but he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there. But Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, which I can't, but if I had to lean one direction, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Ilia Topuria later on this year.
All right. Okay. With Paddy in that fight, I rewatched that fight, and one thing I personally was surprised of is his kicks were very good. And not that they weren't
Yeah.
before, but that was a talking point during that fight. Can you get into a little bit more about his skill and what you found difficult about Paddy, and then just analyze it for us, and then how do you expect Gaethje to try to break that down? What you saw?
Yeah, I mean, it was his length and even just kind of the way he moves. He moves really well to be able to throw a kick at any time, and they're fast. And they don't. What's crazy about these kicks, the low kicks especially, is they don't have to be crazy fast to land because until guys start learning how to check them, I say check. I don't really check. I kind of just try to move out of the way because checking is sometimes a fool's errand. You're just going to land. The shot's going to land anyway. But just I think the cadence at which he moves, kind of it was almost like he was always there to be hit, yet he wasn't easy to be hit because of the length and the distance. And I just think Gaethje brings a different level of violence and also he takes a lot of chances. Whereas Paddy's a little bit more calculated, and I think Paddy will be there for 25 minutes. I do. I think he stays really well composed. And then Gaethje can just fight, but Gaethje can fight at a very high pace for a really long time. So, um, me and Gaethje both leg kicked the heck out of each other in our fights. In our fight, we both were fine and just kept slugging. So it'll be interesting. I think the biggest thing is the ground game. Paddy's going to try to bring him down to the ground. Paddy's going to try to leech onto him and pull him down to the ground and look for a submission finish. But I don't think he's going to get it on Gaethje.
And then you're predicting Gaethje over Elia.
Maybe. Tough one. Very tough one. I'm a
That's
Gaethje
tough.
guy.
It
I'm a
is very
Gaethje
tough.
guy. But I've also been on record saying I think Ilia Topuria is the most skilled fighter in the UFC that we have on the
Yeah.
planet right now. And obviously he's dealing with some personal issues, so he's going to step away from a little while. But man, if you're rooting for a guy who's been at it forever, you're rooting for a guy who you want to see get gold in the end, it's Justin Gaethje all day long.
Yeah. It's good fights, man. It's really good fights, and who knows, one way or another, whether it's Paddy or Justin, maybe we'll see that fight against Elia at the White House right before we see yours and Connor's when you walk out of the main event. That'd be a pretty good night.
Come on, man. Manifest it. We'll see. And hopefully, like we said, hopefully we know pretty soon, but things are moving in that direction.
All right, man. Glad you enjoyed the holidays with your family. Thanks for jumping on, and we'll be waiting. We'll be waiting for an announcement, man. Best
Sure.
of luck.
Thanks, Brett.